The Heartless CEO, written by Yerun G. Chapter 19. Last Warning. Connor caught Sen with his eyes focused on what he was reading in the news. He already knew about that news and he didn't expect the child to see it.
"Is he my dad?"
she asked her grandfather as his eyes remained focused on the picture of his mother with a man who looked like him.
"He is, but you can't meet him yet."
Connor did not deny about the man. The boy will only find a way to find out the truth if he had not told him.
"I understand,"
Sen simply replied to the gentleman and turned his attention back to the television. The news only spread more when the interview with Steven came out, even though he said he had no relationship with a woman and she was only a few business partner. Many still maliciously gave a different meaning to the news. Someone even said that if the young billionaire did not have something special for the woman, that would not be his action.
"Brother, why didn't you just delete the false news that was spreading?"
Rita confronted her brother. Steven wiped his palm on his own face and was defended by his sister's voice.
"What will they think of Danica this time?"
Rita tried to not cry as she complained. "I did it to stop you from giving her troubles. I know you did all this just to get her out of the company." Rita stared at her brother's face in disbelief. Is that really how he thinks of her and Danica? "This is my last warning. Rita, don't think I have a lot of patience." He was serious.
"But we have nothing to do with those pictures, brother."
Rita couldn't hold back her tears and cried over her resentment towards her brother. He accused her and something she never thought to do. "Enough, Rita. I want to rest." He turned his back on her. Rita was upset when she left her brother's room. She no longer knew how to reduce the weight Danica was feeling in her heart. Danica couldn't allow herself to do nothing after hearing the interview with Steven. The next day, she invited Rita and she did an interview as well.
"My name is Danica, Steven Scout's fiancé."
Danica introduced herself and looked straight at the camera of her interviewer. Those present who were just listening exchanged glances. They knew she was Steven's fiancé, but it was never officially announced in the news.
"I'm sure you already know who I'm with."
Danica smiled slightly at the camera before turning to Rita. She waved at her in support.
"I just want to let everyone know and prove that there is no other meaning in this picture. I know Miss Schwartz and she has become my friend as well. You are mistaken in thinking that there is something between the two besides their being partners."
Danica explained calmly. But it was the first time ever that Mr. Scout appeared in the camera and do an interview. The reporter asked Danica in an intriguing manner.
"Everyone can change. Steven is just preparing himself for our upcoming wedding. One of my requests to him is to go public so that you don't always stay in the dark about the issue he's involved in."
Danica smiled at the reporter. The topic changed and it focused on the alleged impending marriage of the two. Everyone was excited for the new news to be released. They admired Danica and praised her. They were also thankful to her for clarifying everything, especially and she was able to gradually change Steven's aloof attitude. Nicole smirked after watching the interview with Danica.
Let's see how far you can go on pretending.
The look she cast on the television screen deepened. Nicole returned to the company and took the next step. When she saw Danica enter the comfort room, she followed her and made sure no one else was in there. Danica was surprised to suddenly see someone she hadn't expected to see at the moment. From the mirror in front of her, their eyes met. She glared at her, but Nicole smiled at her in exchange.
How are you?
Nicole greeted Danica with a smile.
I watched your interview and I never thought you were the best actress.
She sarcastically praised her. Danica smiled and didn't bother to look back at the person she was talking to.
I have a lot of talent in my hands.
Oh? Nicole's mouth was round and her eyes widened slightly.
Oh, amazing! I'm happy that Steven kept his promise to me.
Her words were full of maliciousness. Danica turned violently to the woman, and her eyes were glaring at her, sharp as a knife.
What do you mean? Like you, I also have many talents.
She smirked in response to Danica.
Don't you dare steal my man,
Danica threatened the woman.
Someone may hear you. Remember, we're friends.
Nicole gave an innocent child act. She was having fun playing with Danica's feelings. Danica's mouth tightened and she gritted her teeth as she glared at Nicole. She can't hurt her or say bad things now. Otherwise, she will be the villain in Steven's eyes again. Nicole smiled when she saw how Danica controlled her anger towards her. After a while, she smiled at her when the door opened.
I'm going to the office of Mr. CEO. Do you want to come along?
Nicole asked Danica with a smile after smiling at the employee who came in. If only there were no other people around, Danica might have pulled Nicole's hair. She looked like she's going to a club by her clothing, and she knew she intentionally dressed like that. Nicole did not wait for Danica's answer. She deliberately swung her hips with each step and showed Danica how beautiful the curve of her body is. Danica was fuming when she entered her own office. She can focus on her work and thinks about what Nicole is doing in her boyfriend's office. According to Steven's secretary, the two have not yet come out. Steven watched Nicole, who is now busy reading the contract he gave her. He couldn't help but stare at her closed lips as she slightly read the papers she was holding. Being with her in the same room and without taking an action is a torture to him. He wanted to end what was troubling his mind.
So, this is all done?
A wide smile was posted on Nicole's lips after signing the papers. Steven stood up and held out his hand to Nicole to shake hands. When they touched, he felt strange again. Nicole made sure to always stick with Steven for the next few days. And she was glad because he voluntarily came with her today. They are now on the site to personally look into the problem. At first, he did not want her to come with him because the place was dangerous. But she persisted and he had no other choice.
I hell hate this.
Danica complained tearfully to Rita. She and Steven had an appointment, but was cancelled just so he could accompany his partner on the site. Rita sighed and did not know what to say to elevate her friend's angry feelings. She lost even more willingness to tell her what her grandmother had said earlier. She felt hurt for Danica again, because their engagement party had the possibility to be postponed again.
Our engagement party is the day after tomorrow. But he seems to have forgotten.
Danica continued to complain. Rita could do nothing but hug her friend. Fortunately, they were just at home, so she was free to vent her resentment.
Mommy, why are you crying?
Daniela asked Danica sadly when she saw her. Unable to hold back the tears, Danica hugged the child. It's not just because her appointment with Steven was cancelled. That's why she's like that. But because he was with Nicole on a site, and she knew the woman planned everything.
Baby, can you call Daddy and tell him that Mommy is not feeling well?
Danica asked sadly to the child. Daniela looked up in a pity at her mother and reached for her wet cheek with her little hand.
I will, Mommy. But please, stop crying.
Rita smiled as she watched the two. There is no doubt that Danica loves her niece very much and the child loves her too. Nicole saw that Steven immediately answered the phone call when he saw the caller's name. Based on his reaction, the caller must be very important to his life. She carefully got close to him to see who was calling him. Yes, baby. Nicole's eyebrow rose when she heard the young man's voice soften and it became gentle. What happened to your mom? Steven asked his daughter. Nicole raised two eyebrows when she heard the young man's question to the person on the line. She would have liked to hear the voice of the caller, but she would seem suspicious if she got any closer to the man. I can't, baby. Daddy has a lot of work to do. I'll call your Aunt Rita to take care of your mommy. A small smile formed on Steven's lips when he heard the child's low sigh. He knew she must be pouting, and she wanted him to take care of her mother figure. Nicole is sure that her child is the one Steven is talking to now. She suddenly wanted to hear the child's voice so bad. But she immediately suppressed that. It was not yet the right time to indulge her emotion. She knew that Danica was using her daughter to distract Steven's attention from her. Steven was about to answer her daughter when he heard a loud crash from his back. To be continued.